Adam, call me for a tittyfuck, Ray, is one of the many comics who floats between the LA and Austin comedy scenes, as well as tours the world, chiefly on airplanes, but we'll get to that in a bit. I have seen and mildly enjoyed his character work, where he plays Dr. Phil, President Biden, and some old lady. I first saw him on Kill Tony, and if I'm being honest, I didn't really like him at first. But what sent me into this typing frenzy, where I thought I'd work up a script based on his special, Like and Subscribe, is that the more I watch of his work on Kill Tony, the more I'm finding I have fond feelings for the guy. That said, I have never watched his stand-up at length before, so when I was perusing old episodes of Kill Tony today, and heard that he'd put out a special on YouTube back in 2024, I decided it was high time we see where he falls on the Eeks scale.
Here's your headliner, my boy, Adam Ray!
The total babe is his mother, if you hadn't surmised. I gotta cut out the intro music, cause that's how they get ya. Let's jump into his opening joke.
Madison, how we feeling? You guys excited to be here tonight? Thank you so much for coming out. Let's go. Yeah, a little high five to get it going. Fuck it, take it easy. All right. Holy shit. I was gonna tackle me on the stage. You guys party too. The legal drinking age, I Googled it in Madison, is 11 years old. Yeah. You can look at you guys. That's not true, but you guys are like, yeah, that's about right. You know, we get it going. We get it going early.
Little crowd work and pandering never hurt nobody, but let's get to the meat of things here, Adam. Not everyone on YouTube is from Wisconsin.
You know, we get it going. We get it going early. Flying into Madison was, a little bit of a rocky road beginning to this adventure. Our pilot hiccup burped into the microphone. Some of you don't seem fazed by that information, so this will refresh your mem on what a hiccup, but he did that 35,000 feet in the sky while he was flying a plane. He wasn't playing an Xbox in his mom's basement. He was flying a plane, and very casually and terrifyingly we got about 15 more minutes before, oh, my bad. He said, my bad, after he threw up into his mouth.
We've got a hybrid pandering/airplane joke to kick things off, and I'm hoping it doesn't hearken things to come.
My bad, after he threw up into his mouth. At 5:22 p.m. I was like, oh, we're crashing into everything. It's way too high for that. Get a little stony baloney for my flight sometimes. I'm not good with turbulence. Helps to dilute some of the severity of the bump and grind. I don't know how you guys do with turbulence. I usually get my favorite song loaded up that I want to die to. Right? I don't want some stranger screams to be the soundtrack to my demise. I don't want to hear some guy 4 rows deep being like, I should have gone to see Coldplay live. To be the last thing I hear. Now, I want some Beyonce single ladies to be driving that ship, some Hanson Zumbob, some, look at this photograph. Right? Something catchy to distract me from the flames, right?
That's a pretty solid concept, and I guess it's pretty relatable, so long as you fly often. I've personally done a lot of traveling, but most of it's been on 4 wheels, thankfully. And I don't know, it's still very early, but I don't think I really like Adam Ray's on-stage persona, or dare I say, his actual personality. It feels forced. It feels like he's trying to cool guy us. Again, I enjoy his character work, and maybe that's the issue here. Maybe I got used to him being, I guess, not him? I'm keeping an open mind for the sake of Critical Leaks, for the sake of you all. Y'all. Let's see here. He goes on to talk about why he was late to his flight, and it's because he was at a Jamba Juice arguing with a 17-year-old. Adam remarks on how he was being kind of a dick and shouldn't have been because the kid was 17 and working at Jamba Juice, and because of that, things weren't going according to plan for the kid, which feels condescending, sure, but honestly, I think it goes deeper than that. Bear with me here, but I think that kind of comment subtly gestures to a life of entitlement. In fact, I think it's likely that Adam has had a lot of things go right for him since the dawn of Adam. exemplified, if nothing else, by his mother's involvement in his career. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but a mindset like that is rich kid shit. IMO. Anyway, let's get to the funny stuff, shall we, Adam?
And just trying to squeeze an extra Jamba Juice boost out of the poor kid behind the counter, and I was coming in way too hot. Sometimes you just got to take a step back and watch the game tape and go, I was being a dick. This guy's 17, working at JJ. Things aren't going according to plan, right? And I came in with a lot of chutzpah. I was just like, what do you mean I can't get protein and immunity in the Orange Dream Machine? And he was like, those are the Jamba rules. And I was like, fuck you, Jacob. Think for yourself. Way too hot, right? Then I Kevin McAllistered as fast as I could through the terminal and boarded the plane at the same time as the pilot. And we just kind of, I was immediately into a downward spiral. I was like, you should have been here setting the buttons and prepping the switches. And he looked at me and he was just like, which didn't make me feel any better, right? And then he was like, hey, have a good flight, sir. And I was like, yeah, you too, man, because you're fucking doing it. Have a better flight. Please, don't kill us.
Dan Harmon once talked about what's called a Monopoly guy joke in reference to Ace Ventura 2, wherein the writers present a ridiculous character, then proceed to make fun of how ridiculous said character is. The source of the humor itself is just that, a source that they themselves provided. It'd be like wearing a fake mustache, then spending 5 minutes riffing on how wild and crazy that mustache is. It's not inherently unfunny, but it's inarguably cheap. I only say all this to point out that the whole bit about the pilot being like, he, or whatever, probably didn't happen, unless it's weird to add that in to punch up your opening story. Again, this does not bode well for dear Adam.
I was like, you should have been here setting the buttons and prepping the switches. And he looked at me and he was just like, which didn't make me feel any better, right? And then he was like, hey, have a good flight, sir. And I was like, yeah, you too, man, because you're fucking doing it. Have a better flight. Please, don't kill us. I sauntered back to my seat in the emergency exit row, which should have been a sweet treat of an experience, right? Unlimited leg space, all the snacks I could muster. But at the peak of my high, here comes that flight attendant to make me the mayor of Paranoia City. Yeah, I forgot when you're sitting in the exit row, you have to step up to the streets too at some point and be a hero. And I was not in any shape or form to pull that off. I'm just staring comatose out the window, looking for Care Bears, creating as much, of a moment as I could to.
We're going to get right back into that where we left off, but I have many, many issues with this approach. First, I hate when Gen Xers talk about weed, because they're from a different time where it was still like punk or whatever to be on weed. Like saying he was looking for Care Bears and stuff just screams I don't actually smoke. It's so woefully out of touch to think that seeing Care Bears, which is, by the way, an inherently Gen Xer reference, is how weed makes you feel. Paranoia? Sure. But what the hell is with this last sentence? He says, to quote, I'm just staring comatose out the window, looking for Care Bears, creating as much, of a moment as I could, to be a problem. Bro, what does that even attempt to mean? Are you ad-libbing this? That'd be fine, except your peers seem to take this whole making a special thing far more seriously than yourself. Ugh. Anyway.
Some point. And be a hero. And I was not in any shape or form to pull that off. I'm just staring comatose out the window, looking for Care Bears, creating as much, of a moment as I could to be a problem. And here comes that flight attendant at the peak of my high. Excuse me, Mr. Ray, are you willing to help and assist in the event of an emergency? And I was like, you saw me working on the seatbelt for the last 18 and a half minutes. I'm gonna let you answer that for yourself, Deb. But fuck, read the room, bitch. I got cotton mouth, all right? That's worse than turbulence. When you walked up, I was going, nah, 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 nah. What about that behavior suggests I could save lives?
This is gonna be a long one. I don't know why I find his comedy so exhausting, but how did she know your name off the top of her head? Why did you know her name? Why do you keep mentioning Cottonmouth like it's not completely bearable and moreover curable with a simple drink of water? I'm being a little petty here, sure. But that's what we do here, Adam, especially when given reason. And just for the record, I rated Joe List's special a damn 7 out of 10, and I don't really like Joe List. I'm not unfair, you're just hard to root for. Anyway, we're like 4 minutes into this special, so I gotta fast forward a bit. The next bit is about Spirit Airlines, so more airplane BS. Then into Southwest, another airline, which he describes as one notch above Spirit. I feel like this stuff would be totally okay if it were being performed in an airport terminal. Again, I get that one should write what they know, but god dang, dude, please talk about something else.
They're like, if you're hungry, you can ask the person next to you to spit in your mouth. You're like, oh, we probably will. Thanks for the tip, Greg. Southwest might be a notch, above Spirit. Sometimes you got to take Southwest, man. It's just the right fare, right? It's a great affordable move, right? You get like a $90 ticket from Phoenix to Burbank, and you're like, hell yeah, right? And then 20 minutes into a 50-minute flight, they're like, we're gonna make a quick pit stop in Shanghai, China. It's just easier for us. Thanks so much for understanding. C Group, you ever get C Group on Southwest? Sometimes you forget you're checking into an SW flight, and they throw you to the wolves. They're like, hey, off to the rest of the bottom of the barrel, Creature City, right? C Group is all the people you forgot we have. It's just fucking Narnia.com. It's just fucking, you ever go to Walmart anywhere in the Midwest past like 11:45, and you'll just see a guy and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot we have that type of guy just walking around with a ponytail and a family, right? Last time I was at a Walmart, Des Moines, Iowa, 12:15 a.m., and heard a guy out of nowhere just go, "Gah!" Nobody was phased. Everyone just looked at each other like, all right, I guess we'll skip that fucking aisle tonight. Get celery tomorrow. Celery's not going anywhere.
Why does it feel like someone put a gun to Adam's head and demanded that he perform an hour of comedy, then recorded it and called it a special? Am I just in a bad mood? I need a laugh, Adam. Hit me with the funnies, please.
Get celery tomorrow. Celery's not going anywhere. Yeah, C Group is just fucking the bottom of the barrel. It's just everyone's just foaming at the mouth. They've never even seen a plane. Like, they've all got, they got mayonnaise on their sweatpants, and they're wearing fucking shin guards for some reason, and Hakeem Olajuwon jerseys, and they got pubes on their eyebrows. They're taking Dayquil at night and NyQuil during the day. Just men are wiping their butt after they pee. Just fucking. I hope there's potato salad out there. There probably won't be, Doug. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, let's get those out of the way. All right.
And there we see our first example of clapter in this special, which, if you're new here, is a term I learned from the notorious Ty Rivera. Clapter is what an audience does when they can sense that a joke is over, but aren't actually laughing. It's usually when a crowd is made up of mostly fans of the comic on stage and is more a courtesy than an organic reaction. Call it what you will, but that's not laughs.
I was on a flight, Southwest flight. They ran out of food. It's never happened in my all my years of flying. They just get on the intercom. Sorry, we ran out of peanuts. Sorry. You have no peanuts, sorry. And then I noticed there was a fat kid in front of me just deep-throating some planters. This little fat kid was prepared, and I had my nerves calmed immediately, because as a former fat kid, I'll give you some chubby insight. Fat kids don't leave the house without calories, okay? This kid was prepared. If that plane was going down, he wasn't going to be hungry. Right? He had Gushers from different continents, fruit by the foots that hadn't come out yet, chocolate-covered Cheez-Its. He was prepared. He had snack packs and backpacks and back fat, and he was just, crushing the game and living his best life and just deep throat and just guzzling these peanuts, just making all sorts of funny fat noises, just saying all sorts of funny fat phrases like, I love peanuts, Mom, I wish I was a peanut. I was like, yo, that's the fattest fucking thing I've ever heard somebody say. You adorable little Oompa Loompa, right? I start poking his dough through the seat, asking if I can get the rest of his peanuts. I'm high and hungry. I'm treat unprepared. I'm like, hey, man, can I get the rest of your peanuts? I asked a little kid harmlessly on a plane, can I, Adam Ray, get the rest of your peanuts? That's what I said. Can I get the rest of your peanuts? The rest of your peanuts. His dad heard something else. So now we had to agree to disagree. And not at all what I asked for. I could have enunciated more for sure, but I got real defensive. I was like, dude, not at all what I said. Why? I don't want his penis. I'm not some stony pervert. That's what he thought I said. He was like, your penis? What do you mean your penis? I was like, peanuts, not penis, peanuts. And then I was like, dude, even if I did want his penis, why would I ask for the rest of it? You fucking psycho. This is on you.
Pros and cons of that last stretch. Pro. I like the vague alliteration. The back slaps and fat naps of bap faps or whatever line was passable. It made me smirk. But not only are we still talking about airline bullshit, it's another Monopoly guy joke. This situation, these characters are all completely contrived exclusively to be remarked upon. It would be one thing if we had been there to see this, or if he was remarking on a clip he found somewhere that proves that this wild and crazy stuff was happening. But instead, we have to take Adam Ray's word on it, and then be amused by how crazy it sounds and how crazy he finds it. It's a hollow, unfulfilling brand that I'm tiring of quickly. So, I'll make us all a deal. If he doesn't stop talking about airline stuff before the 10-minute mark, I'm out, and we'll give this a 2 out of 10 by default. I just can't get through more of this stuff than 10 minutes. Like and subscribe indeed, Adam. Jesus, dude.
I saw someone smoking a cigarette on a Southwest flight once. That's confidence. This guy was so cool. Cigarette smokers, you guys know who you are. It's effortless. This guy, she was like, sir, can you please put that out? He just flicked it back in her face. He goes, keep the change. I was like, dude, make this guy pilot immediately.
Are you starting to see what I'm talking about? You feel how that's not funny because it's so clearly made up? What was supposed to be the punchline? What's funny about that story? The guy doing the crazy thing. Even Adam's reaction to it isn't funny. Him being like, make that guy pilot immediately. We've got literally 1 more minute before he hits the 10-minute mark, and at this point, I'm literally hoping he doesn't change the subject so I can just chalk this up to a 2 and proverbially go home. But alas, literally between the 9 and 10-minute marks, he changes the subject off of airlines and onto anti-smoking ads from when he was young.
I was like, dude, make this guy pilot immediately. I think it was the anti-smoking ads. That's what really got in my way when I was a kid up in Seattle. These aggressive anti-smoking ads really did a number on my childlike brain. They all start off really sweet. Beautiful picture of a 17, 18-year-old gal. They'd slowly zoom in on her face. Then you hear this voice come on the TV. I was high school valedictorian. Top of my class, graduated with honors, went to Harvard Law, met my dream man, had 4 beautiful kids, retired on a ranch in Montana, where we were chilling, relaxing, maxing all cool, shooting some people outside of the school. We had everything we needed. Then I started smoking 89 packs of cigarettes a day. Now I charge strangers $8 to fuck the hole in my neck. Oh my God. Holy shit. That's a lot of info, Pam. It's also 2 in the afternoon and I'm 7. You want to tone it down a notch? The Ninja Turtles are coming up next. This feels like a nighttime conversation. How cute was my mom, by the way?
Look, I know I'm breaking our deal here, but I don't think I can make it through this thing, gang. I hate to be that critic, but I have to figuratively walk out of the metaphorical theater. Adam Ray's inner fat kid is far too strong for me. He's too desperate to make us think he's not desperate to make us think he's cool. Give it a sec. All these Monopoly guy jokes are beyond exhausting. All these half-assed impressions are slowly deleting my soul. Any energy I had going into this is gone. And I hate to say this because even Chad Daniels got a 4 out of 10, but Adam Ray's special like and subscribe was so literally unwatchable that I have to call it 10 minutes in and give it a 2 out of 10. That's the lowest score on the EEK scale so far, and it's so much worse than I would have expected. I know it's not easy, given what this title has done to us here today. But if you enjoyed this video, please, well, like and subscribe. But, most importantly, in the meantime, be nice.